We have all been sick. Unfortunately, it is a fact of life. But what if I told you there are strategic ways we can keep ourselves and others from coming into contact with or spreading pathogens? Hello, my name is Dr. Kristina Mena. Today I will discuss pathogens and how we can minimize exposure and transmission in the spaces where we live and work. A pathogen is a small organism that can cause disease when it comes into contact with people. There are three main types of pathogens: bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Pathogens can be spread in a variety of ways, from food and water to surfaces we touch, like doorknobs and tabletops. Pathogens find many avenues to spread and populate in unsterile environments. In fact, some have adapted to even resist common disinfecting products, including chlorine. Many of these pathogens cause similar generic symptoms, such as stomach cramps and nausea, though others can create more complex problems in the body. Having knowledge of basic pathogens and how to disinfect them can help reduce the chance of spread within a community and keep everybody healthy. So how are pathogens transmitted? Well, there's not quite a simple answer. For many bacteria, food, water, or unclean surfaces are simple avenues for them to enter the body and cause infection. However, for these types of bacteria, we can avoid them with relatively simple measures. We can cook our food at sufficient temperatures for sustained periods of time. We can boil, chlorinate, or filter our water, and we can use appropriate disinfectants for the proper amounts of time. Though these measures work to disinfect some forms of bacterial pathogens, for a viral pathogen like SARS-CoV-2, things work a little differently. SARS-CoV-2 and many viral pathogens are spread person to person through the air, or in tiny droplets that can travel through the air for several feet. With viruses like these, measures like hand washing and using disinfectants still work to eliminate these pathogens when they make contact with the surface. However, extra measures like mask wearing and social distancing are also necessary to prevent pathogen transmission. Are some environments more at risk of spread than others? The simple answer is yes. The size of the space, the number of people coming into and out of the space, the length of time people remain in the space, the number of commonly touched surfaces in the space, whether people eat or drink in the space, and how often surfaces are disinfected will all affect the rate of transmission. For example, a small restaurant with many customers and a single cash register may see higher rates of pathogen transmission. On the other hand, a large office space with few patrons and a break room that is disinfected by each person after use may see a lower rate of pathogen transmission. Lastly, the function of the business or space plays a role in the risk of pathogen transmission. For instance, hotels attract people from faraway places, share many spaces, and invite them to stay for long periods of time. Thus, they are prone to a wider variety of pathogens and a greater risk of spread if they are not properly disinfected. Additionally, simply coming from a different geographic area, hotel guests will have had different rates of exposure. Now I know that was a ton of information to digest, so let's try to apply it to a recent example and understand one kind of pathogen transmission. Let's examine the virus that causes COVID-19. The structure of SARS-CoV-2, the virus causing COVID-19, is simple in virus terms. It is a piece of genetic material, RNA, surrounded by a protective coat of spike proteins. Outside the protective coat, there is also an envelope made of lipids, fatty acids. The COVID-19 virus enters its host cells by using these spike proteins. It then implants its RNA into the cell's reproductive systems, so the virus becomes manufactured by the host body. SARS-CoV-2 also has the ability to trick the host's immune system by suppressing T cells, cells important to your immune system's response and your body's defense. An increase in viral load, meaning more SARS-CoV-2 viruses in a given space, may translate to an increase in your chance of being exposed to viral particles and contracting COVID-19. Specific to COVID-19, some studies have observed an association between a higher viral load with severe infection and death. The virus that causes COVID-19 is transmitted when an infected person coughs, sneezes, talks, or sings, and releases invisible droplets into the air containing the virus. The droplets act as a vehicle for the virus and travel, exposing nearby people and infecting them. This makes the SARS-CoV-2 virus highly transmissible, and if appropriate mitigation measures are not taken, much more dangerous. But lucky for us, SARS-CoV-2 does not really resist common methods of disinfection. Its lipid envelope is easily broken down by everyday disinfectants or by washing your hands with soap and water. Furthermore, the virus causing COVID-19 is susceptible to environmental stressors like sunlight, heat, and humidity, depending on the amount of each. This is why transmission of SARS-CoV-2 while outside is much more difficult. This is just an example of one type of pathogen, but as you can see, if we all take a moment to look at how each type of pathogen is spread, it can help us orient our operations and businesses to minimize the spread of viruses, bacteria, and parasites. Next, we will take a look at specific ways in which each type of pathogen is likely to be transmitted in your own workplace and steps you can take to mitigate that spread.